Charles Almighty Wraith of Game Warriors Gaming for a Cause, and this is Unscripted. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about misdirection, misinformation, and how it divides us. So, with the stuff going on with social media and the media, mainstream media, and everything, you hear a lot about how the world, what is the world coming to, how racism and sexism and violence and this, that, and the other are on the rise, all the negative stuff. You know, and what it boils down to is simple concept of misdirection and misinformation. And so with misdirection, that is a term that's usually used in like magic tricks and everything else, where they're getting you to focus on, this while, you know, they produce something over here. It's the same thing that doctors use with the younger patients and stuff like that. They'll get them focused over here and inject them with the shot or whatever, and it's to distract them. And parents do the same thing with the younger kids, trying to get them to eat whatever food they have. It's the same concept with the media. Um, they get us thinking about one thing in particular when we should be focusing on this over here. So I'm going to avoid specifics, examples, and stuff like that, so that way I'm not producing misinformation myself or anything of that nature. Um, which brings me into the misinformation. Now, misinformation is a little different than flat out lying or falsifying stuff. They use terms, and we do it in retail as well. You use buzzwords to invoke an emotional response, or to break the ice or whatever. And you know, in retail, there are certain salespeople that they rely heavily on that to manipulate the customer experience, instead of just building a rapport with them and being able to find out information to help the experience. They use it to manipulate to sell their product. Well, the news media and everything, they're a business, plain and simple. Um, so they take that same approach. That's why you can see, and, and this goes back to the misdirection. You can see certain articles about the same news story that's posted in one area that has a heavily demographic one of one group, and then post it in another area that is heavily demographic of another group. The words will change. It's not that the information per se is changing, but the key words and stuff like that will change. So some examples would be uh, like with my wife. We'll use my wife as an example, and me. So let's say that Sonia is wearing a shirt that I'm not a fan of. So if I approach her and say, "Hey, baby, that shirt, I really like this shirt better. It brings out the color in your eyes, or whatever." Um, that's going to go over more. Hey, baby, I love the way this shirt looks on you. It brings out the color in your eyes. So by saying those key words of loved and bring out the color in your eyes, so that triggers a response that she's loved, and that I really want her to wear this because of how attractive I think she looks in it. But if I just flat out went up to her and said, "Hey, baby, that shirt is ugly and it makes you look fat," that's not going to produce a a welcome response, and I'm probably going to be spending the night on the couch, or at least a clear division in our bed from me and her. So the same point was put across. It was just worded a little different. I didn't want to wear that shirt. I wanted her to wear this shirt. So, um, in the same sense, we have the media that does that. Um, they use keywords and buzzwords to invoke an emotional response. Um, because as humans, we are more of a reactive than proactive. Um, as far as a whole, um, because proactive means you got to put in thought and you got to put in, and we have such busy lives. It's not anything to do as far as that we set out to be just a reactive blowhard or anything like that. We we just have so much going on, and we are all emotional at our core. You have that emotion spark, whether it's positive or negative, we react to it. Um, so, you know, if you see a article in one's newspaper that talks about a death of a guy that was shot. Let's say he was shot. So it may read, "Man shot to death by an AR-15," and you know, uh, and they use those they phrase it like that because what is that going to do? It's going to make you think about gun control. It's going to make you think about um, uh, it's going to make you think that guns are the problem. Whereas, if you go into another article and they may add in the ethnic group that man belonged to invoke a little bit more hostility or emotion into that. And what that does is that creates a division. So they play on the emotions to divide. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because of the fact that, you know, uh, anyone that uh, is wanting to control someone, uh, if you have a group of people that are like minded and stand together and for a common cause, they're a lot harder to, you got a group of 100 people. It's a lot harder to control that group of 100 people versus, let's say, if you just come through there and you divide it. You got, let's just say it was an even divide. You got 50 and 50. You got 50 people now that are going to agree with your point of view, and then you got another 50 that are going to oppose you. Well, now instead of 1 versus 100, you got 51 versus 50. So the odds now become in your favor. And the reason that is because, like I said, media is a business. And the same people that run a lot of those businesses run some of these uh, bigger companies. And the bigger companies are league with politicians. And the politicians make laws, so on and so forth. You see where I'm going. A house divided against itself will fall. You know, if you do not let them divide you, because there's a lot of tragedies in this world. A lot of people that grew up together, laughed together, cried together, um, stood together for years and years and years, are now divided because the media plays on emotions. And after so long, we become divided. Racism, sexism, all of that stuff is nothing new. Violence is nothing new. The reason why that it seems like there is so much more now is because of this: your cell phone, your computer. We have access to more information and more misinformation than ever before. Any point in time in history, we have more information now. Now, uh, that allows for us to get a lot of information. It's great. It also allows for a lot of misinformation, which is not great. And it allows for people, especially those in certain groups and everything else, to push agendas, whether it be for gun control, whether it be for some kind of human rights, or something that's disguised as human rights. That type of stuff gets pushed. And through different algorithms and stuff like that on your social media platforms and your search history and stuff like that, then it becomes tailor made. So those articles that I was telling you about that uh, present themselves one way in this publication, but presented in a completely different way in this publication. Now the one that aligns with more of your searches, that is going to trigger more of an emotional response to you, is what you're seeing. And a lot of us, again, not because we're malice or anything like that, or because we're hard-hearted, we just don't go. We're so busy that we don't spend the time to look further and look at a different angle, because we we get so busy, we forget, or we we're bombarded with the the articles that are in line with uh, that certain group, that it keeps pushing. We're bombarded and we're just tired of looking at it, so therefore we stop looking. We stop looking for the truth. So that being said, with me personally, a lot of times when I see an article about someone dying or some corruption or something like that, I read through multiple articles from various sources, and it's for some sources that are not aligned with the articles that I've already read, because somewhere in the middle is the truth. The other problem with technology is this: we're seeing more of it because it's more readily available due to the fact that we've got cameras on our phones. So we can take pictures, we can take video, and everything else. So these clips that normally you would be just back in the 80s and everything else, you would have to have a film crew there, or if it was caught on camera by someone, it was not instant. So therefore, some of it got overlooked, and came to light later, or whatever. But now we have so many different. It's at our fingertips. Um, 9 times out of 10, we hear something something happening, we can pull up our camera and film it. You know, and sometimes it's very funny moments. That can that are caught on camera that are gonna enlighten and brighten someone's day. And then sometimes it's tragedies that we can shed a light on. Hey, this organization right here is perpetrating that that the victim was this bad person, and da da da, and that, but come to light, the victim was having his rights violated. And again, I'm trying my best to avoid any actual examples and everything, so that way it stays uh, impartial, because there are so many different angles to take into consideration. But like I said, we are being manipulated by social media, by the mainstream media and everything else, so that way we are divided. I've seen personally friends of different ethnic groups that have been friends for 20 plus years. We grew up together, we laughed together, we cried together, we shared so many great memories, that are now divided. They're not divided because of the fact that they've changed. They're not divided because one ended up being a jerk and the other one not. They're divided because they're being told to be divided. So, you know, used to, we could have a debate, a conversation. We could get our views across without triggering violence and everything else, or hate speech. And hate speech goes both ways. Um, so I encourage you that when you see that article and it emphasizes something other than the fact that someone lost their life or someone broke the law or whatever, if it emphasizes certain key words, that you pay attention, because there are still uh, news journalists, not the not the stations, but journalists and everything, and personal bloggers that have integrity, that are sitting there reporting and trying to give us the information that we need to make an educated decision on the different stances. Um, the fact is, guys, we live in such a wonderful time of technology and information that honestly, we could accomplish so many great things, but we don't, because of the fact of we allow for divisions amongst us because of misdirection and misinformation. So, guys, that's all I got today. Until next time, this is Charles Almighty Wraith saying stay awesome. Hey, guys, it is Charles Almighty Wraith, and
Wrestler 58.
we hope y'all enjoyed our video and everything. Be sure to check us out on all of our other social media networks, such as YouTube,
Facebook,
Twitch,
Twitter,
Instagram,
and Patreon.
and also be sure to like and share the videos. And all right, until next time, this is Almighty Wraith and
Wrestler 58.
saying stay awesome.